Hey everybody, this is really interesting in the sense that it just shows the chaos of information that is thrown at us on a daily basis. And here we see side by side two articles based on the same conversation. US may have to continue to hunker down, Fauci. Now, first off, that opened this, which is actually a slightly different headline. Notice this is LA Times. They tend to be more liberal left. They're in California. Not surprising, right? Right next to it, we have Fauci says rolling reentry of economy possible in May. And that is going here. This actually lines up with the headline. And this is Associated Press. Associated Press, I would say in general, tends to be more of an actual news outlet just saying, hey, here's what happens. But they are taking parts of a speech that Fauci gave. I'm honestly not a huge fan of because I think he talks out of both sides of his mouth at different times. He's really linked to this Bill Gates trying to be our savior. Not sure who appointed him to be that, but Fauci works with Bill Gates through some of his weird foundation stuff that I think he basically uses to hide his wealth. Having a foundation is a way to hide wealth. I don't think he's this great philanthropist, and he ran his software company trying to control all the computers, and it was a terrible operating system. Anyways, that's a side note, different video, but let's just look at this. It's funny, right? Health officials caution against talk of quickly reopening. Remember, this initial headline, right next to this other one, we may have to continue to hunker down. So let's go look and see what it actually says. Because this is what I'm talking about, right? You can have a story, and news sources, if they're on the left, they'll portray it a certain way. If they're on the right, they'll portray it a different way. So first they talk about Trump dropping his Easter goal. He already did that a while ago. We're hoping by the end of the month we could look around and say, okay, is there any element here we can safely, kind of reopen? But if not, then we continue to hunker down. So, unfortunately, a lot of people read headlines. They may just think, oh, hunker down, we've got to hunker down, let's be afraid, right? This one, the second article over here, rolling reentry possible, at least sounds a little more positive. But look, they quote basically the same thing. We're hoping at the end of the month we can look around and say, hey, is there any way to open this? They don't talk about the hunkering down part right below, but it's just interesting to look at the difference here as to why they would portray this one with sort of a lack of hope, one with hope. It just shows the side-by-side different ways news isn't just reported, it's these quote alleged facts or what people are saying are being interpreted based upon what the writer or the news source wants to say about them. It might be even impossible to get fully unbiased news. And this is something to even consider with Fauci, right? Sort of a side note here, but initially you can look it up. He said the travel banning Europe was useless. The virus was already here. There's no point. We don't really need to do it, right? And then the story changes as to we needed to do more earlier. We had bad information. He seems to actually agree with Trump on some things now, but we also have to ask, why are we so reliant on this one guy? Okay, right? He's one doctor, one virologist. Maybe he's not even a good one. I've been to a bad doctor. I had an injury once, went to the doctor, he said it was sprained, and I went to another doctor and he said I'd ripped the muscle off the bone and we needed to repair it within 4 weeks or we wouldn't be able to. What if I just listened to the first guy? There's plenty of doctors saying a lot of different things. Maybe this guy isn't even a great doctor, right? I don't know much about his actual history. I think he's more of a political figure than a, expert virologist. A lot of these curves and math and models have been, challenged by very smart statistician type people, which would explain why a lot of them are kind of inaccurate. And even here you can see we're 100 times safer now than in early March. Here's the math, right, by this PhD guy here. I like what he said. I don't necessarily agree with it all, but it makes sense. So the Bill Gates, the Fauci's talking about, especially Bill Gates still pushing we've got to have vaccines mandated. That's a real thing. Just look. Because this guy's not hiding what he's trying to do. Global agreements. Let's add coronavirus to make sure it's relevant. Yeah, mandatory vaccines, right? So we've got to look at these different opinions here, right? Mandatory lucrative vaccines, working with Bill Gates. You can look it up, right? His foundation. Like, why does this guy, if his vaccines work, Bill Gates, if they work anything like his terrible Windows operating systems, I don't want to be anywhere near that. So anyways, again, think for yourself, right? People out there writing this, at least they want ad clicks, right? I came out of the advertising space. The better the click-through rate, the more eyeballs, the more clicks on ads, right? You're earning more CPMs, RPMs, the more sensationalized it is. That's a fact. At worst, they have further agendas they're trying to push, their bias. So it's good to do one's own research, and a lot of times what the quote mainstream is saying on the left or right, it's highly sensationalized. So you have to be aware of that. Anyways, don't want to harp on this too long, but question, what is Fauci actually saying? What is Gates actually saying? Why are these two articles talking about almost the same statement, and their headlines look, pretty opposing? So that's it for today. Take care, and you'll be hearing from me soon.